G'day! In today's video I'm going to be replacing the display on a Google Pixel 4a 5G model. And I've got the replacement component down here. So first thing I want to do is make sure that the replacement part is the right model for your display before proceeding. If you're all happy with that, you continue on. I have had this on my heat pad here with the phone switched off at 75 degrees Celsius. And now I'm going to use a thin metal pry tool and some isopropyl alcohol, and that will get me into the phone. So this stuff here, I'm going to spray that onto here and proceed to work my way around the phone. Slide it between the plastic and the display, which for me is lifting quite easily at this point. Which, the less it breaks and the easier it comes out, the easier the cleanup the job will be. As you can see, this has got hit and shattered at the front of it. There we go, that's now popped off. Hold that down. Now, do I remove the last bits of glass up here? Potentially the factory adhesive. And now from here I want to reveal this section, which should have the connection for the display under here. So we'll zoom you guys in a bit further. There is a plastic tab here that needs to go up, like so. And we've got the connector down here. So I'll just put that under and lift it up. Should flick it off like that. And that's using fairly minimal force to get that off. One thing to do note before we go too far is, I'm pretty sure will be the case. No, I'm not seeing it. I was trying to spot the mesh that may be on the top here, but I'm not seeing it on there. Aha. I do see it down here though. Do make sure you don't lose this little piece right here, as that is your earpiece mesh / grill. So I'm going to put that up the top here for now. And now, next on the cards, we'll be cleaning up around the phone itself to clear off the factory adhesive, or else your screen will stick out but won't look as flush as it could. I'll give my scraper tool a try. It's not going too crash hot, just because it is very flexible. I will just try and find a flathead screwdriver. There we go. Now just proceed and scrape around. Also, with the little bit of extra heat that I've got going on, or the heat pad, it does make this, or removing this, a fair bit easier. As opposed to doing this while it's cold. If you're doing this while it's cold, I'm expecting you would have a bit of a battle on your hands. So if you can put a passive heat source into it or keep it near a little heater, I wouldn't recommend just pushing or blowing hot air onto here, as it may warp the plastic or damage various other components. So for example, the camera in the front there. But once we finish cleaning this up, I'll be using some B5000 frame adhesive, and then I'll be sticking down the new screen. Which luckily that stuff's fairly strong, that it should be a perfectly fine replacement for this stuff. And that screen shouldn't really be going anywhere. Now I do just need to double check the corners. course, corners are typically the main spot that will get damaged in the case of a drop. Granted, that will depend on the point of the impact and whatnot, but I would expect to see damaged corners on most dropped phones. Go. Now, I'm nearly happy with this. Now we'll go over it with a toothbrush. Another thing that you probably should do prior to gluing the screen down would be just to connect it up and make sure that it will display. Nothing worse than getting through the full process of installing a brand new screen, gluing it down, and finding it's a dud. That definitely sucks. So the phone switched off. Try and line it up. So you just kind of want to loosely sit it over the connection until it kind of locks into position. Once it locks there, you should just be able to push it down with your finger and you should feel it crunch or click into position. So from here I'm just going to take the phone off and just give it a quick test and I'll be right back. So that screen tested out fine. I'm going to lift it up, disconnect it. There we go. Now one thing I will need to try and figure out first, is how this sits. There we go. That looks all right there. Now I want to remove the various films on the back of the display. Now for a new part, it is leaving me slightly disappointed over here. Why there seems to be film there. I see a huge difference between here and here. And I believe there's a sensor that should be under there. It should be a bit better now. I'll sit it down. Grab my favourite tool. So when that's lined up down here, yep, and we'll line up over there. So I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but you can see up here where it's transparent, which is here for the proximity sensor. Well, I'm assuming is a proximity sensor. So I'll peel this off as well. And next up, let's get some glue going. Oh, so actually it wasn't B5000, B7000. So this stuff I find to be fairly runny, but not runny enough that it just randomly fills up everywhere. So I'm just putting a light bead around the phone. You don't really need to absolutely soak the phone. This stuff is usually fairly strong, and a small amount of it will keep it together. I do find this stuff also useful for small kids' toys, various plastics. Just overall pretty good glue. There we go, I've gone around the phone now. I've still got my mesh at the top of the phone, which you can't quite see in frame. There we go. Now, I reckon I've just put down a bit too much glue. Right
amount, because right here there's another sensor as well. That's okay.
As there is a small hole just here as well that does need to be able to see through.
So now I'm going to reconnect the screen and line it up loosely. Sorry, it might be difficult to see in the footage. And then click down. Should make a noticeable click sound.
Should feel it crunch into position. Next up,
I want to put this back on. Should be able to slide that under there.
actually I need to separate it. There we go.
A bit under there. Snap it into position.
And then this mesh here, or tape. Mine's going to be a bit too far gone to actually put on there. It's folded itself up now. That should be right without it. And if I lay it flat, that's clear. My mesh is still in position at the top of the phone, smack bang where it needs to be, up here. Now I'm just going to loosely apply pressure around the phone and work my way around it. Pull that out of there. So from here, I'd recommend applying some pressure to the phone, either on top of it, or using clamps, and that should or give it some time for the glue to cure. It does take up to 24 hours to fully harden, and you should be right from there. Anyway, that will do for today. That's how to replace the display on a Pixel 4a 5G model. See yous.